Here we go again. Doing my favorite thing in the world to do. Oh well, it's got to be done. Got to face our fears someday, don't we? Well, I just got done watching. What's his name? Ruslan or something like that. It's kind of interesting. He was talking about Billy Carson and how there was this podcaster who had Billy Carson on, but he also wanted to get this other guy from Canada, from Toronto, on to have some sort of kind of debate on Billy's religious thinkings. Now, it's pretty interesting because it turns out that it didn't really go Billy Carson's way. And Billy Carson's asked the guy who put the podcast together to not let it out. Can you imagine? Like, that's the thing. We don't force people to fucking back their shit up. Like, why would Billy Carson ask to have this fucking taken out unless he was upset with the way it went? Like, if the other guy proved his point and he doesn't want to come to the understanding of the truth, then I don't know. It just seems odd, eh? People will do whatever it takes to protect themselves, eh? Delete shit, right? Whatever. That's the thing. Nobody has the truth anymore. Billy Carson should just let her fly. Hey, I got something wrong. See, I think it had to do with something to do with the crucifixion of Christ. And Billy preaches that or says, whatever. I don't think he says he's a preacher, but I guess he is sort of preaching. But that the crucifixion of Christ did not happen. Now I know there's some religious thoughts like that as well, but the things that he brought to the table that make it not to make him think that the crucifixion didn't happen, he was wrong on, I guess. He said, "Well, I got the information from this book," and the guy pulled the book right out and said, "Well, talks about the crucifixion right in here." You know what I mean? That's just kind of really weird. Like that was the whole thing about like before before my spiritual awakening, my thoughts on Jesus. I just that's the whole part I didn't. It's like he came back to life. Like, come on, whatever. Like, you know what I mean? The whole. But if you actually look into the story, it totally makes sense. Now I'll explain why. Like, I'm not saying the crucifixion happened. I'm on a search for the truth. God doesn't give it to me. He gives me the strength and courage to go and try and find it. And when I've accomplished my goal, you know what I mean? Maybe we can get under the Vatican and really find out. You know what I mean? I think there's been some tomfoolery. But anyways, the crucifixion. This is why it kind of makes sense to me now. Because I'm thinking to myself, like this is just me though. If I found a dude like Jesus, especially the shit he'd already shown, right? I would have carried my cross with him. I would have been like, no, 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 you're not taking him. Not without me. I'll go home with him. I believe him. I know that if I do the right things and stand for what I'm supposed to, you know what I mean? But anyways, let's go back. So remember when they got Jesus, nobody knew who he was. They were all like, oh no, I don't know who he is. Nope. Uh-uh. Nobody wanted to take responsibility for being Jesus's friend, right? Something must have happened for those fellas to get back on the Jesus train, to be willing to die, to not to not, denounce Jesus, you know what I mean? Something really, real that's just what I think, but I don't know, you guys let me know where you're wrong. I like the crucifixion story, you know what I mean? I just kinda see it differently than others. I see that maybe if humanity woulda got together and stood up for the right things, maybe Jesus didn't have to go on the but then again, maybe it's just the plan, right? I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, the whole Billy Carson thing, I think that's weak sauce. You know what I mean? You're gonna say you're a fucking man. Back your fucking shit up. Let it hang. Like, would that be better to show somebody, hey, I don't have an ego. I can change my mind. Thanks for the information, but that's not the world that we live in today. But that gets me to, well, AD likes to think that he's for some reason, he thinks that he's smarter than everybody, and he thinks that when he's being witty, he's screwing with people's heads, but he doesn't realize he's only doing himself in. I watched, and I should watch the whole thing. I watched some of the, UFO trials or whatever it was in Congress. Kind of a joke when you look at all the empty seats, you know what I mean? You think that that would be something that there'd be a whole lot of people asking a whole lot of questions, right? Not a whole lot of people there, handful to ask a couple questions and stuff like that. Now, you gotta ask yourself, I'm I don't know if Luis Alessandro or whatever, what he's all about. I just question things when I see them, you know what I mean? And when you say you want the people to know, and most of your responses back are, "Hey, I'd have to show you behind closed doors." I can't do that. I can't talk about that right now, because then the people would know. But isn't that the reason the dumb fuck's there? To let the people know? Like, we're not smart enough to figure this out. If those people wanted you to fucking know, they would fucking stand up and say, "This is just ridiculous. We need to the American someone needs to show some fucking passion." But instead, you got Luis Alessandro there, Mr. Book Guy, going, "Uh-huh, yeah, yeah, I can talk to you that behind closed doors. We can't get that out to public, but we want you get how fucking stupid this is, right?" Like, I don't I'm not buying it. It's a little stage show. This should be something that there's a whole lot of people there, a whole lot of interest in, because if it's real, that's something the American people and quite frankly, the people around the world should fucking know. You know what I mean? But they have control and they have the power. Therefore, they get to control what we fucking know. And we allow that. We allow these fucking cocksuckers to allow us to, oh, for our benefit, right? For our benefit. Oh, you guys can't handle the truth. No, the problem is maybe if you're not in the fucking truth, you're living in a false fucking reality. Maybe if you're living in a false reality, there's a bad ending. You know what I mean? Nobody in this world wants to question anything. But then again, nobody wants to take on new information like Billy Carson there. I'll tell you another thing about Luis Alessandro. See, there's this guy called Dr. Stephen Greer. He's not a big fan of Lewis. He says he's a government operative. Now, Luis, he fails to say anything bad about Stephen, except that he might be a fraud about some flares and stuff like that. You can see that on the PBD podcast. But he's like, I'm not speaking on him. I don't know what he's doing. And, he's got his thing. Like, if I was a man who was really searching for answers, Stephen Greer would be a fucking person I'd be fucking asking questions to. Let's find out if you're the person you say you are. Let's get together. Let's do it in front of the public. Let's have a conversation. Let's air it out. You know what I mean? But no, they make you look. Luis Alessandro makes it look like he's the better man who would walk away from talking shit about somebody because he doesn't know 'em. No. If somebody I thought was working in the same field as me, I'd do a little investigation. And if I didn't think they were legit, I'd come right out and say it and give the reasons why. You know what I mean? But we're supposed to buy on it now. But then again, AD, this how stupid this fucking cunt is. He tries to tell me that, well, he wants to believe what's going on in Congress. But I got videos, and I'll post them if anybody wants me to, of a ex-Canadian defense minister talking about the Galactic Federation of Aliens. Okay? Now, I can post that video because I do know and I do have it. You guys can check it out for yourself. No, and I did check up. There was nobody saying he was mentally ill or anything like that. There's also other videos of Paul something. I can't remember his last name, but there's also videos of him in your Congress talking about the Galactic Federation of Aliens. I know that seems weird, but when you listen to him, he doesn't sound like he's all hopped up on drugs or anything like that. You know what I mean? So you might want to question it. Now, I know there's other weird things with the Galactic Federation of Aliens too. I know it sounds weird even for me to say it. Galactic Federation of Aliens. There was this woman, Dolores Cannon. You guys can look into her. I don't, maybe her and Paul were working together. I don't know. But she talks about a Galactic Federation of Aliens, and you have to go check that stuff out for yourself. Now, I will tell you through my spiritual awakening. Hey, what's up, Venomous? Like I said, I got some videos of myself that were a little bit weird and had me questioning what the fuck. Like, is it nothing? Like, what is it? And I watched this video one time, and it kind of fucking scared the fuck out of me because it said it was the Galactic Federation of Aliens, and what I was seeing that looked like stars was their ships. I know it could have been made up, just a random thing. It was just kind of a funny thing that kind of fucking came up. Okay, I'm just telling the truth. I'm not making anything delusional up. I just thought, fuck, that's weird that they're talking about the shit that and I'm looking at the channel and half the shit they say is just fucking whack. And I'm just like, I don't know, whatever. But anyways, so we got the Canadian defense minister, right? Talking in an interview that I have that I can show. Then there's videos of him in Congress. Now I could look those up and post them if you guys want. So that's kind of weird. So there's this Israeli space guy or something like that. I can post this video too, because this isn't just an interview. This is like ABC or NBC or they reported on this. That is an Israeli space minister or something, whatever it was. He says there's a galactic federation of aliens. And then old Donald Trump very well knows about them. But he's not supposed to tell the people. Now, this is an ABC or NBC report, okay? So they were like, they asked him, like, hey, why are you doing this now? Like, this is kind of weird. You're talking about a galactic federation of aliens. He's like, well, if I would have did it back when I had my job, I probably would have lost my job. They would have fucking called me crazy and all this other shit. He's like, I'm old now. I got nothing to fucking lose. I'm just telling the truth. I'm trying to let the people know there's a galactic federation of aliens. and Donald Trump knows. Now, in that broadcast, they say they've reached out to Donald Trump's people, but hadn't got an answer back yet. Now, I know what you guys are saying. I not what you're saying, what you're thinking. You're thinking, well, I've heard Donald talk about aliens before, right? And well, he doesn't really have much to say. But I am going to tell you, I can try and find it, but I think it's best when people do their own research. There's a video out there of Don Jr. and Don Sr. And Don Jr. gets on the topic of aliens. And I believe they talk about how there was something they wish they could tell the people, but they just can't do it. Now, you have to go check that video out for yourself. You know what I mean? Maybe it's about putting the puzzle pieces together. Well, thanks, Venice. But AD wants me to think that I'm an idiot for thinking there's a galactic federation of aliens, but he's a fucking brainwave genius for listening to Congress or whatever those guys are saying. What if there is a like a Project Bluebeam and Space Force? My girl Vintage comes in and like, what is Space Force about? That was Donald Trump's baby, wasn't it? Lots of weird stuff. I don't know. Wouldn't it be nice to find out? Wouldn't it? But then again, if there is a galactic federation of aliens, based on the information, not that I've made up in my head, but I've seen and watched and heard on my own, they're not the bad guys. We're the bad guys. They want to help turn us into the good guys. Could you imagine that? All that after being told the aliens are the bad. When they come, we're gonna have to destroy them. Or they're gonna destroy us. What if it turns out they're the good guys? Hey, well, what do you think aliens would look like? Could you imagine? Our minds have been so programmed that what if like Predator? Remember Predator? What if they look like them, but have a heart like Jesus did? Could you still love them? Could you set a set your hatred aside? Or little green guys with black eyes? Who knows? ET comes out. Who knows? Maybe they look like us because like there's stories all over the place about humans making it with aliens. You know what I mean? What if they look like us? What if we are them? What if they implanted themselves into us? Hey, that sounds Anunnaki-ish, eh? Hmm. I don't know. Can you imagine vintage? Did this TikTok earlier. Like, this fucking sucks. I hate doing this. But everybody says, you're crazy, Carl. You're not chosen. You're not a son of God. Listen, if you guys can't comprehend the fact that you have to know that you're a son or daughter of God in order to become one, I don't know what to tell you. And in this day and age, people are going to look crazy if they say that. You know what I mean? But then again, they're expecting the, the people, vintage, they're all expecting a savior. You know what I mean? They don't want someone to save them. What if it's on them? Would that be a big surprise? What do you mean? I had to follow the 10 commandments. I don't know. Like, I think the chosen ones came down here to suffer, to learn, to show people how to fucking be reborn. Let go of all your bullshit. Admit to yourself who you are. Want to change. But that's the thing. Like, do you think God does this because, like, he wants to give people a chance? Like a warning? I think so. Like, hey, wakey, wakey. Like, if there was a hell, that would be like a nice thing to do, right? Give them a chance before it's all over and done, right? But then again, hey, vintage, you know what? I don't even like Christians can't even figure out what Christians are supposed to be. They're supposed to be in Christ. They can't figure that out. The name Christian is Christ. The IN is a suffix. That fucking puts Christ to action. You know what I mean? Hey, if you see something wrong in the world, stand up and fucking say something about it. Be a man when you're supposed to be a man. If you know men are going into little girls' change rooms, be a fucking man and fucking stop it. You know what I mean? Christians don't even know this. They don't even know to fucking stop evil. You know why? Because little twat faces run around and tell everybody Jesus was weak and he ran from the fight. Like, what? When did he ever run from the Pharisees? Hey, boys, you're fucking the people's brains up. Well, your teaching ain't right. You're twisting them all up and you're making yourselves righteous and you're making these people feel like they're not. You're making it much harder than God ever intended it. So, just like back then, they probably just had everybody all just, that's the thing. Like, when Jesus comes, who do you think he's coming for? Probably the same people he came for last time, the people suffering. Give them hope. He didn't go looking at the Pharisees, trying to change their minds. No, he went to the weak and the broken. Because you have to do a little suffering to get to God. It's pretty hard to convince a man that has everything to give himself up and suffer and do the right things. This, I welcome death. I'm not even kidding, dude. That's the thing. I've been doing a lot of thinking, like, what do I got to do? These videos, I've made them. They're all done. They're all out there. What do I got to do to step up and fucking say, hey, Canada has a fucking broken system and I can prove it. It's done nothing but try and fucking destroy me. And everybody has participated because they're scared to stand up for what's right. So they want to break a man so they don't fucking look bad. Unfortunately, Sooner or later, we all gotta face our maker. And quite frankly, I think I'm in Christ, so I'm not really worried about facing God because He knows lip service, but He knows my heart. And He knows when I say I will die for Him. He knows gladly I'll come home anytime He wants. That's the thing, like, I've been telling the truth the whole time. "Hey, guys, you guys wanna be idiots? Go ahead. You wanna lie on me? It's only on you." See, through it all, I only wanted the best for everybody, and I still do. You know what I mean? I still do. But unfortunately, I don't even know how I wanna say this. Anyways, no, let's get back to yeah, I gotta find a way to show how broken the system is and how the people work against each other. It's completely broken. This system is not for the people. Like, I think you guys got problems with your FBI. Our RCMP is just all twisted up. Like, there is enough, like, China getting in our elections, our fucking politicians taking money, our politicians saying they're fucking indigenous when they're not. Just it's just they're just stealing from Canadians, and our news is polluting our fucking brains, and we're paying for it. We don't see, like, why does Rebel News how can they survive without funding? Why do we have to pay these millions and millions of dollars? I just siphon in money. You know what I mean? Just draining Canadians. And then we just blame it on each other. Like, I don't care. Like, I know Justin Trudeau, he's gonna have to meet his maker, and he's not gonna do good, I don't think. I don't think he does good at all. See, here's the thing. Canada's like Canada's screwed. So screwed. Okay, you guys got that border czar. I keep talking about him, right? Like, I love him as Canadian. You know what I love him as an American too. He's bold. He's he's a fucking man. But here's the thing, there's no men representing Canadians. As soon as that border czar came out and said that, Canada should have been getting a hold of him, talking to him, saying, "Hey, what can we do to block our border off? Because we're not paying for the Americans' mistakes. You guys can keep you guys can you guys can fund what you've already been funding to send it back. We don't want to." But that's not what's gonna happen in Canada. Of these people who don't wanna leave, Politicians are saying, "Oh, that can't happen. We'll give them their due process once they're in." No. Listen, when Trump went on his spiel last time about sending people out, old fucking Trudeau there fucking came out and said, "We'll take you. We'll take you. Come on, we'll take you." Do you think he meant due process or just come on over? Like, I was just watching some dude from India's terror list in our country in a shooting a couple hours away from me. You know what I mean? These are wonderful folks, eh? I'm not saying I'm not being hateful towards anybody who wants to come into my country. I'm not. But make sure they, you know, don't wanna change my religion because I don't wanna change theirs. I want them to come to their own fucking conclusions, but don't make me come to mine. Don't come into my country and tell me the fucking Sharia law is gonna take over, and I'm expected to fucking sit there and listen to that, and my fucking dick-headed prime minister won't do anything about it. Death to Canada, death to America, death threats, death fucking threats, and we allow that. No, those are the fucking people, but let's have some bouncy castles at a fucking convoy to fucking say, "Hey, Justin, let's have a conversation." That's what those fucking people wanted, was a fucking conversation, and my prime minister is such a fucking little weaselly little cunt. He can't have a conversation because he's a spineless loser. Fuck. There's no politicians out there standing up. None, because they'd be coming out every day, saying, "Hey, Justin, hey, why did you leave school? Why did you leave in mid-semester? Hey, is there an NDA, Justin? Hey, you little shithead, did you ever get over wearing blackface? Hey, hey, can you get a DNA test, Justin? Like, we just want the truth, Justin. There's no harm in asking for the truth. I'm not a fucking terrorist. I want to know if you are, motherfucker. You know what I mean? You are, motherfucker. You're terrorizing my fucking country and you're fucking brainwashing them into thinking you're nice. Because you are. You are nice. You are a Eason, you little bitch. I can't believe my country has allowed this little twisted motherfucker to even fucking anybody who would want children to have the choice to fucking mutilate themselves is a fucking useless fucking bitch. And any Christian who has Justin Trudeau ruling their fucking world is a fucking bitch. Anybody who believes in God, if you're a Muslim, a Buddhist, anything like that, get your fucking heads right. Living in Canada, get your fucking heads right. Because if you believe that, oh, all this censorship, it's for us, and oh, it's to protect the children. It's to protect the children. It's to- We're doing this, and if you disagree with us, it's because you don't like children. Coming from fucking people who would mutilate, let children decide for themselves. But hey, let's stop speech. Let's make sure speech doesn't happen. This ain't hate speech. This is asking for the fucking truth. That's the thing. They don't want the fucking truth out there. Like, I can't like, you wonder why I wanna join the MAID program. Fucking Justin, you know, fucking failure. I shouldn't have that was supposed to come in May. He's such a failure that, well, I say psychiatry is completely fucked. Well, there must be some who think that, well, we should try and fix people's mental health before we allow them to take themselves out, but Justin's got them going for retraining. You know what I mean? This is true. Retraining. Gotta get those doctors to understand that, well, the crazy people wanna go. They wanna go. But maybe the fact of it is that those doctors are creating crazy people. I know my doctors. I mean, I'm surprised I held it together, in all honesty, because, well, when you do get held against your will and you haven't done anything wrong, you should freak the fuck out. You know what I mean? You should be like, "What the fuck is going on here? This is not the real world." But, hey, when we get to pull that evidence, I'd love to see my doctor's notes from that guy who put me away 5 times. I'd love, because we didn't have much conversating, you know what I mean? And the conversations that we did vintage, I didn't quite understand. I didn't understand. Like, he would say shit to me like, "I think you're on the spectrum, Carl." And I was like, "What do you mean by that?" Well, it's not like Elon Musk or Bill Gates. And then I would be like, "Hey, like if you think I'm like that, then why won't you have conversations with me? Like, why won't you listen to me? How could you say something like that and then just have that in my head?" Like, it's pretty bad. Like, I don't know. Do you know how hard it is to say that about that stuff about Christians vintage? And you loving Christ the way you do? And it just makes you sick to watch all these dance videos and know that they would all come together for a dance video, but if it would get them noticed. But if they had to work together to fucking do something for the children or do what's right, no fucking interest, because they might get hurt. They might get punished by their father, the government. Old Sainty Claus. Obey. We'll tell you what you're gonna do with your fucking children, and if you don't like it, you can go fuck yourself, because there's nothing you can do about it, because we got control, motherfuckers. Hey, I learned that, hey, CAS can indeed steal a baby. They don't have to have a conversation to figure out what's going on or anything like that. Just steal, steal, steal. Can you imagine that? And my family's just like, don't rock the boat now. We got the kid. Let's not worry about it. Let's, if that woman does that to another family, it's not on us. Just let it go, Carol. Let it go. Don't worry about the next family. No, I don't have a like KY Charlie B. Communist Canada. Yep, yep. Castro Jr. Now, I don't know if you're new to the show here, but I don't know if he's Castro's son. But what I do know is Castro comes from a shitty bloodline. Now, he didn't start that shitty bloodline. It was started before him. If you want the video on that, I seen that I have it in my saved list as well. I can share that as well. Well, Castro from a shitty bloodline. There's a whole bunch of them. Did you know that Dick knows the king there? Dracula. Did you, like, for real? The guy that Dracula was based on. What was his? I can't even remember what his name was now. What his real name was. But yeah, and why? I always ask myself if 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 England has a government, what the fuck is the king and queen all about? Sounds like a waste of money to me. You know what I mean? Fuck yeah. just a bunch of people wanting to feel special about themselves, you know what I mean? They need a title. They need to rule. But then again, I do think that they still are doing some ruling, to be honest with you. Because, like, if you listen to Justin Trudeau's opposition, Peter Poilievre, it's something about him being loyal to those dickheads. You know what I mean? It's weird. Why would he say he was loyal to those dickheads and not to the Canadian people? You know what I mean? Weird, weird shit. But oh, if we're talking about, do you like Candace Owens, Carl? I'm gonna be honest with you. I absolutely adore Candace Owens. I think she's fighting for the truth. I'll tell you one thing I don't like about Candace Owens. You gotta pay attention to everything around going on, right? You gotta try. It's hard. There's so much shit going on. Now, you gotta also remember there's a lot of information that we don't know. You know what I mean? And maybe Candace knows information that I don't know. But based on the fact that she is friends with Kanye, and at one time, I thought Kanye was doing very like, I thought he was on his way with Jesus, you know what I mean? I thought he was saying good things, he was trying to let things out, he was trying to let the public know we as society just failed to pick well, I picked up on it, but here's the thing, I don't understand why when Candace Owens gets asked something about Kanye, she puts it to the side. I'd love to know, like, what are your thoughts on him going back to that, what is it? You know, stupid fashion thing Kim Kardashian had that they had children involved in, and it looked all sorts of gross and stuff. Balenciaga. How did she feel about Kanye going back to Balenciaga with his wife? How does he feel about Kanye showing off his wife all the time? How does she feel about these things that people are saying about Kanye? How does she feel? Because she is totally against porn, right? Right? How does she feel about Kanye having his own porn site? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like, that's not somebody that's somebody I would try and help, but not somebody I'm gonna but I don't know. Like, I don't know. I get to see things that 'cause I actually listen and pay attention. There's a lot of good people like, Tucker Carlson. He says a lot of good things, but he also says there's things that he knows that he won't say to the public, and I don't think that that's right, but that's on him. But the one thing that I don't like is he commended Chris Como on covering for his brother. I think you always side with the truth. Think everybody's your brother and your sister, just blood doesn't make it that way, you know what I mean? If somebody does wrong to humanity and you try and cover it up, brother or not, you should suffer the consequences for what you did. You know what I mean? You shouldn't cover up for somebody because you're only hurting them in my eyes. Because if somebody doesn't have to suffer for what they did, then they can never come to Jesus. You know what I mean? But instead, they're living a lie with the devil. You know what I mean? And you're living right in that lie with them. That's just my opinions and my thoughts. But I like a lot of Tucker Carlson stuff he says. I've seen, I don't know. Like, I like Alex Jones, dude. I like Alex Jones a lot. I absolutely adore Roseanne Barr. I think she goes off the deep end sometimes, but hey, maybe she knows things that we don't. Maybe they really are eating babies. That sounds crazy. But then again, serving Satan sounds crazy too. But yet I know Dave Grohl serves Satan. And I know there's a lot of other ones that serve Satan. Little Uzi Vert and the other one with the devil shoes, the other little, you know what I mean? Like, I do think Roseanne is chosen by God. She says she is. I don't even I don't even know what she thinks about Jesus. I think I've heard her say good things, but I can't even remember. I know she says she's Jewish. That's all I know. Like, I don't know what she believes in as far as, but I think she believes in the truth, and that's what matters to me, I think. Isn't that what Jesus would want if he exists or not? Didn't he say the truth was the way? And if Jesus wasn't the truth, wouldn't he want you to be in the way? You know what I mean? She's only up from here, Harley. See, here's the thing, Harley. I've been doing a lot of thinking. That's all I ever do, unfortunately. I want to do that video, but it takes a lot of fucking balls for me to do them, right? And it is a little, even though I think they're going to play it in the future, it is a little disheartening when I go out of my way. And I really think I'm doing something good. And I think that, like, why wouldn't, like, I got one like and one share on this video that I thought was awesome. Well, it wasn't, that's the thing. I can't play a character. I can't write a script. I get something in my head and then I have to do it on the fly. You know what I mean? I have to do it original. And sometimes I stumble. You know what I mean? It's all part of getting over the fear of looking like an idiot. But in true belief, I don't think I'm the idiot in the end. But who knows? But if I am the idiot in the end, at least I can learn from my idiocy and I don't have to be an idiot anymore. You know what I mean? It's all a learning process, Harley. It's a I I know, Harley, but how far is it gonna go? I'm probably gonna have you and Hillbilly sharing it, okay? Hey, listen, that's how this whole thing started. I wanted to share in my chosenness because I think everybody's chosen, and I bid on Ryan Upchurch. He told me he was chosen. I believed it. I thought, if we're chosen ones, and he talked to me, he would use his platform to help me and my country, you know what I mean? But unfortunately, I think Upchurch is one of those Canada haters, you know what I mean? He wants us to feel less than as well. And unfortunately, well, I'm chosen and he's not, and I can prove it. He does not follow Jesus. He does not follow the truth. I think he has bad influences. You know what I mean? Like, what do you think, Harley? Like, put yourself in Upchurch's shoes, okay? And just think, just think if okay, put yourself in Upchurch's shoes. And would you have the person managing you? Now, this is from Patty, but now she denies it. But you can go ask Brandy, Brandy Day. She said Brandon Luce dressed up as a squirrel and wanted to get busy all the time. Okay. So There's the squirrel thing, just in case it is real, you know what I mean? But not only that, I mean, do you want your friend, let alone your manager, banging your mom? Doesn't that tell you what kind of integrity they have? I mean, I don't know, like, does it make sense to you guys? Enlighten one. Can a superstar really be chosen? I don't know. I don't know. Like, I think we're all chosen. I think we just have to choose to be chosen. Or are you talking about Upchurch, his song "Superstar"? Well, he says he's not a superstar. He says he's a chosen one, right? Is that how it goes? I can't remember. I don't know. I wanted him to be chosen. I really fucking did. I tried super hard. You can go back and watch the show. I definitely tried. His people, as hard as they tried to tell me no, I wanted to hear it from him or from them, but they had to say it was from him. But then when he came into my comments, and the comments that he made weren't, "You're crazy, you're fucking this or that," or, "Hey, don't bug me anymore. I'm not your type of person." It was like, "Hey, let's have a one-on-one. Hey, I get what you're saying with your sweater." Now, that could have been just a diss because it was a Pink Floyd sweater, maybe, I don't know. Concept of being chosen by God is understood. An ongoing process where God extends grace and opportunity to all individuals regardless of time. Well, how do you know that? H how do you know that? If there are just certain souls that will just never come to the truth, like, is that what you think? Like, we just all gradually get there, or 'cause I don't know, maybe because I read my Bible. Well, then why does Jesus say, "Hey, boys," when that guy said, "Hey, where do you think you're going?" And he's like, "I'm going a place where you're not gonna be able to go, because your daddy, you serve Satan. You don't get to come with me." Isn't that in the Bible? Well, if you talk to God, I'm not saying you don't. Where does he say that? So are we supposed to sit back and be pussies? Not stand up for what's right? We allow their stupidity and ignorance to take over our children's brains? Like, this is where I fail to see. Everybody's like, "Oh, everybody comes to it on their time." How do you know that? Hey, why Charlie B? I don't even look at it like that. I guess I do. When I look at someone, I try and see myself, you know what I mean? And if I see somebody doing something that doesn't make sense to me, it makes sense to me to tell them the truth, what I think the truth is, but not to ignore what they say to me because I might not know the whole story. That's why I always say, "Hey," I don't like telling people I think they're stupid, but when I say, "Hey, guys, the WEF's real," I mean, I guess Trump's in there now, and we don't have to worry about the dump. You guys don't have to. Our deputy prime ministers don't, but we never know what could happen. But interesting thing, though. I want you guys to take this into thought because I trust no man, not Trump, nobody, nobody. I will wait and watch God's plan come into place and talk to people. Oh, what was I even going with that? Fuck. I don't know. Here's what I wanted to say. Putin has been part of the WEF in the past. Yeah, he tells us about them, but he has been a part of them in the past. They do have buildings in Russia. Like this is stuff that you can check for yourself. What if it's all just one big show? Well, if Donald Trump's involved, what's with all the fucking symbolism all the time, eh? What the fuck is this? What is this? You see it all over the place. Watch a Knights Templar video. You watch even like Andrew Tate all the time. You kind of ask yourself, you know what I mean? What is it about? Are they the good guys, or is Q real, or what the fuck? Do you guys follow Stephen Baldwin? Hey, you guys follow Stephen Baldwin on TikTok? It's kind of weird. It's kind of weird. It's kind of weird. He talks about the Holy Ghost all the time. I'm constantly looking things up. So I watched this video earlier, and it was what was that video? Oh, the really big mistake you can make, right, is to blaspheme the Holy Spirit. Now I question, like, what do you guys think the Holy Spirit is? Like, do you think that that's what lives inside of us, or we can allow to live inside of us? It's outside of us, but we can let it inside of us, find the Christ in us, and to ignore, like the Holy Spirit. Didn't they call it the Spirit of Truth too? So to ignore the truth would be one of the worst things you can do. Because if you ignore the truth, you can't let the truth in, right? So you're blaspheming the Holy Spirit. Does that make sense? Oh, leg day, what bullshit don't you like, bud? What don't you like? I know you like Satan. What is it about Satan you like? Why do you like Satan and not Jesus? Huh? Let's get this out of the way, like day. Why would you be a little Dave Grohl and pick Satan? Huh? Now I understand why Dave might have did it. He got something out of life for it. What are you getting out of this deal? Huh? Huh, like day? Oh, El Sainta. Come on, like day. Why? Why do you pick that fool? Why would you pick him? Huh? Come on, like day. Why'd you pick Satan? Is it because Marty Marr says he loves Jesus? Like, listen, don't hate Jesus just because Marmar says he likes Jesus. Listen, he's serving the same dude you are, bud. Let me tell you, he's definitely serving fucking Satan. I ain't ever seen a bigger liar than him. Like, it's almost disgusting. No ability to take any new information into his head. Dude, you and him are serving the same master, let me tell you. At least you admit it. Mar. Well, we know he's a liar, you know what I mean? There's still hope for you. You know who you're serving. If you get smart, get away from Marmar. You don't want to end up in eternity with him like that, do you? We talked about this before. You know what I mean? So, well, I just like these things. Sometimes the things that people are afraid of never let you down. In the flesh, we are supposed to be let down. Well, I think it's through our suffering that we learn, right? I mean, I'll give you alright, so you got someone like old Dagburn, right? He's I'm a down on my luck kinda guy, you know what I mean? Never learned from the bad things that happened to him. Now, I don't wanna use myself, but I will, okay? The stuff that Johnny talks about, we have a lot of similarities in our lives. I don't okay. So, I won't get into great detail, but my dad was not a great man, but he helped make me a great man. He helped me become I was a perfect dad, but I became a good dad based off my father. I learned what I didn't wanna be. You know what I mean? I wanted to be a hardworking man who supported my family, so I learned from him. You know what I mean? I learned when I went into a foster home, I learned that, well, this really isn't a place of love. It seems like someone might be getting paid because I mean, I probably I got luckier than most, you know what I mean? It's not like we were beaten or anything like that, just you know what I mean? And what I took from that was, if I'm ever in a position to help children, I definitely wanna provide them a loving and, well, it's currently what I do. You know what I mean? So when people do tell stories about foster homes and stuff like that, I didn't have a super bad experience. I just had an experience where There just there was really just no care. It just seemed like but then again, when we were gonna leave, I didn't really wanna leave, you know what I mean? If you don't wanna pay attention to me, that's good, because when dad drinks, I don't like the attention. But anyways, but this is the thing, you know what I mean? We kinda gotta my dad never liked to work, and as I got older, I knew that I liked things, and I knew that for me, when I got to sit down, like, even as a young child, like, I'm saying, like, 10 years old, you know what I mean? And you're out in the strawberry fields and you know what I mean? And you're there forever and you make, like, $5. You know what I mean? But still, you take that $5 and back then you could go get some french fries and stuff at, like, a restaurant and stuff like that. I used to feel so proud just sitting there, like, even by myself, ordering my own french fries, just 10 years old. You know what I mean? Oh, everybody like, Johnny thinks he needs to be gifted something. Do you know what I mean? He thinks that for all his he's been so hard done by, that somebody fucking owes him. You know what I mean? Fuck, I've learned from my own mistakes. "Hey, fuck Navi, why did you do that?" "Oh, why'd you do that?" Took me a while to figure out, but like I've said in the past, I don't care what anybody says. This is not an excuse for anything I ever did because I put it in my mouth. So I was responsible for what I did once it went down. But, anytime I ever fucking did it not like I did the horrible, horrible things or just when I made bad choices, for some reason, alcohol was always involved, you know what I mean? But I learned from that. Alcohol gave me superpowers. You know what I mean? When I wasn't brave enough to end it, well, the alcohol was there for me to say, "Hey, I'll help you along the way. I'll make you brave." But, you know what I mean? To each their own, you know what I mean? Alcohol affects people differently, you know what I mean? For me, like, I can have a good time with it, and it's not like I'm never an alcoholic, though, I don't want you guys to get that. Like, throughout my relationship with my wife, like, I don't drink at all for, like, well, since my attempt, but that's, like, what, 5 years ago, I think? Something I don't but before that, we're like once a month or something like that, but and don't go thinking that I hit my wife or anything like that drinking, no, I'm talking about mistakes, like, long time ago, you know, doing stupid things that you shouldn't do, you know what I mean? Acting ways you shouldn't act, being around people you really shouldn't have been around, saying shit you shouldn't have said, and but then again, sometimes you gotta pay the consequences for that, and well, alcohol, Superman, but anyways, I don't know. Is there anything anybody wants to talk about? Extremist. How's it going? Uh, what did I put in my mouth? Nothing. It's my bottle. That's it. God is ego-driven and a liar. God is ego-driven and a liar. I think you meant government. Well, why would you say God is ego? Venomous? I don't understand that. Well, I don't know. I'm not trying to be a dick, Venomous. That's a good question, but I just this is the way I look at it. This is the way I think about it. If a creator was to create something that was to love them back, in order for it to be true love, you'd have to have another option, right? So you know what I mean? But it was always up to us to decide if there if we wanted the other option. And unfortunately, I think we have entered the other option. Like, why is it so hard to be in the truth? I don't get it. In order for us to truly love God, there has to be another option. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, this is needy and shit. And we pick shit over this. That's what I think. We're not supposed to look at this. You know what I mean? We're not supposed to see color. We're not supposed to see gender. Like, here, this is only my opinions, and you let me know where I might be wrong. Do you think that those pastors or those street pastors or whoever purposely go and set their shit up in front of gay bars and stuff like that? Do you think they're doing good with Jesus? For real. Like, I know a lot of Christians think, and I'm not saying it's not a sin to be homosexual because I don't know. I don't know. I try and break things down in common sense. You know what I mean? Do you think Jesus would want you there screaming at people to get with Jesus or they're going to burn in hell? Or should you be trying to inspire people to come to Jesus? And and when they find Jesus and they have to figure out who they are and they still think that they're gay, even though they found God, that's not for us to judge. What commandment does a gay person break? It's not us for us to judge. It's for us to inspire to bring them to Jesus, and then they'll know themselves. Because in order to know yourself, you're gonna have to change yourself, like be reborn, right? You'll have to figure out why you currently function the way that you do, and why do you make the mistakes that you do, or why are you holding on to the trauma that you are holding on to because it feels good to be a victim, like Johnny Diaper. loves being the victim. You get attention when you're the victim. You have a reason when you're a victim. I don't know. That's the problem in the world. That's the thing. Yeah, I see where I hate using that word chosen one. You know what I mean? I think we're all chosen, like I said. Like, I don't know the word. I don't even. What do you use to make people feel comfortable to say, "Hey, you can be with Christ too," you know what I mean? You just gotta think like him and have a heart like him, like the fucking Bible tells you. You gotta be able to be a man or a woman, and you gotta be able to do what's right. You know what I mean? And if you're a man, you can't think that you're any better than a woman. And if you're a woman, you can't think that you're any better than a man. You're supposed to come together with your strengths and your weaknesses and become a unit. Together, you are strong. So, you know that in the Gnostic stuff, it's in our benefit to know our feminine side and our masculine side, right? Is that not what the books say? I don't know. If man is the creation, you can't have another one without a female. You know what I mean? I don't know. I think God's intentions were the male and female were just important as one another because you can't have more without the other. But we got tricked and fooled by our governments. You know what I mean? Used to be back in the day where men thought that they were the shit. And well, I'd have to say, there's been a pole flip. Not all, I'm not saying all, but if I tell my story, you know what I mean? Like, I don't understand these fucking feminazis. Actually, they disgust me. They're foul and gross. You know why? Because women's sports has been invaded, and I have not seen I've just like a few athletes standing up when it counts. Where's the feminazis then? Nowhere to be fucking found. They should have been rallying behind these women and getting their word out non-stop until fucking like you guys do get how stupid that is, right? Like, first of all, the men are not men for allowing that to happen. And second of all, it's not really for the men. I don't think women want men to protect them anymore. Like, they just want men in their sports. But then again, I get what they've done. You know what I mean? They took the gay people and they said, "Hey, we're gonna protect the trans people." You know what I mean? And now we got the maps under the wing too, right? You gotta protect the maps. Here's the thing. I don't think we should have to protect any of them. We should look at them as human beings. You know what I mean? It's just like the trans. If you do that as an adult, you know what I mean? Instead of instead of thinking you know it and judging that person, why don't you put yourself in that person's position? Why don't you think to yourself, "Hey, how did that person get to the point where they felt so uncomfortable in their body that they were willing to change it?" Can you imagine how scary that would be? For real. Think about it. Think about if you thought that you were in the wrong body how fucking horrible that would feel. And instead of having someone to talk to, I think the kids nowadays, instead of having someone to talk to and work their issues out, they're just being told what they're thinking is what they need to do. Like, that's who you are. You know what I mean? I don't know. I watched kids grow up and they change all the time. You know what I mean? They they pick different things that they like to do. I say let them grow to be adults. Let them know that you accept them the way that they let them express how they feel. Like, don't change their bodies, but talk to them. I don't know. I can't imagine how that feels. But I think when it comes into the schools, I think it is indoctrination and a whole bunch of shit. You know what I mean? To put those kind of thoughts and well, sometimes we all want to be loved. Dagburn will tell you that. You just want to be loved. And that's true for most people who don't love themselves. They just want to be loved. And the more love they can get, the better they think that they feel. I don't I just think that sometimes if you give children special attention, they'll keep performing that way. You know what I mean? Maybe I'm wrong. I just think that it's better to wait till they're adults to make those decisions. You know what I mean? Like they gotta wait for a tattoo and they gotta wait to have cigarettes and all that sort of stuff. So, you know what I mean? I just think it should be banned from children. And I also believe that if you want that new body, the taxpayer shouldn't have to pay for it. That should be something you work for and you're proud of that you purchased. You know what I mean? Because I think of Kamala Harris, one of her proudest moments is helping men become women so they could go into a woman's prison. Seems kind of sick. You know what I mean? That you would want to take taxpayer money. You know what I mean? I don't get it. Why should you have to? It's like, hey, I don't know what kind of cars you guys drive, but that's kind of like just saying, hey, I don't like my car. Taxpayers, it just doesn't feel right. I want the Lamborghini. That's what makes me feel good. You know what I mean? You should have to work for what you want. You know what I mean? But hey, it's hard these days, right? What is working? What are we working for? Could you imagine if we worked for ourselves? Vintage. Could you imagine if we worked for ourselves? Like, do you think God intended there to be oil companies, or did he intend for the people to have the oil? Did you think he intended for whatever gold people to own all the gold or what for the people? Do you think God wants us to have banks that are owned and operated by Goombas? Or do you think he wants it ran and operated by the people for the people? I don't know. These are just little things that I think about, you know what I mean? Like insurance companies do. And just we could serve our community so much better, but we're not even smart enough. We're not even smart enough. God knows what happens and could stop it. Well, God's not here, bud. What if God can't come here? What if he's outside of this world? And it's for us to know that we have him inside of us and we do the work for him. We, the ones that caused the fucking problems. How about we fix them? Hey, Venomous, let's stop fucking blaming it on God. We created this, and only we can solve it if we get with God instead of the current Satan that we're with. Now, I know he feels comfortable and he feels safe and he feels warm inside, and you don't have to do anything with Santa Claus and you can blame it all on God. Well, guess what? This world is like this because of us. Because of us. We allowed it to happen. Men are allowed in little girls' change rooms because of you, Venomous, because you won't stand up. Stand up and fight for what's right. But you don't know what God is, bud. God is love and he is truth. And without the truth, you can't have God. Have the character of Jesus. Whether he existed or not, he's a fine example, I believe. But I don't know. I don't have all the answers, bud. God only gives me the power and courage to go find them. And well, I got to get out there. It's just, I'm not real keen on love like all yous are. I love myself and I love my father. And I want the best for everybody. But they have to love themselves first. You know what I mean? You have to love yourself first, Venomous. If you don't love yourself, you can't love Jesus because there's no truth. But anyways, we've done this for an hour and a half. Well, Vintage, you have a good day. Hey, Venomous, I hope I didn't get you too pissed off, but hey, stop blaming God. The humanoids did this, bud. If we were human beings and knew we were beings, maybe we wouldn't be being so fucking stupid and letting Satan run this fucking world. Love you too, Vintage. Have a good one. Everybody else who's watching. Well, no, we did. We created it. Hey, bud, we can't even prove that the Bible's real. How can you? But Christians will tell you it is 100% the Word of God, when indeed the Word of God is Jesus. Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. It's not good to be a slave. You got to be a free man. You got to get out of the matrix.